Evening, everybody. It's 5:42 p.m. and this is your closing comment for Tuesday, August the 1st. Okay, a couple of important things have happened since the close, so I'm going to get to them first. But the chart on the screen, as far as I'm concerned, is the most important chart of the day. And when I give you these headlines, you'll know. First of all, Fitch, after the close, um, lowered the rating of U.S. debt. They lowered it to double A plus from triple A. In and of itself, that would not be overwhelming because that's still a decent rating, and that doesn't really hurt the ability of the Treasury to sell debt. However, the second piece of that news is that the Treasury has upped in a very big way the amount of debt that they're going to refi in their offering starting tomorrow. It's a gigantic number, and I cannot help but think that obviously someone knew. This chart on the screen is the 30-year bond, and it was down a point and a half. And more importantly, it actually got to a lower low. What that means is that this is still intact. These, let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the high back in March of 2020. One, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Same here. So what we've had is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we're about to make a lower low than here. The question is, do we break 117 and a half? Right now, we're 122, and I assume that we're going to be lower tomorrow again. So, I called this and we traded it for a big profit, this bear flag. When we got up, could not make it, and now are breaking down. This low was 122 and 30 seconds. Today's low is 122 and 26 30 seconds. But, I think more importantly, when we see what it looks like tomorrow, I'm going to guess we're certainly going for this 122.22, and we could be going for substantially more. So this is a problem, and I can't imagine it's not going to affect the markets. This is also, I think, one of the reasons that the bonds were down so hard, which forced the dollar up, which forced the gold down 30, the silver down 65, the copper down almost a dime. The copper down almost a dime is 3%, I believe, 2.48%. And not only that, but if you look at what it did today, it actually tried to go higher. So it made a higher high and then it made a lower low and then closed down at the bottom, or, within 2/100ths of a cent there. So, this puts in jeopardy this entire move higher. Remember, this came from $5.20, an all-time high. Um, a little bit further back than that. Let's see. There we go. And really looked like we were headed for higher numbers. But depending upon how badly or well this financing goes starting tomorrow, we'll have to see. Okay, so we had the jolts this morning, which were lower than expected, 9,582,000 versus last month's 9,824, and an expectation for 9,600 um, expected. ISM and PMI were both under 50. Remember, 50 is neutral, above 50 is expansion, below 50 is contraction. The ISM was 46.4, and the PMI, although it was 49, up from 46.3, is still under 50. It still shows contraction. Um, Construction spending was up 5 tenths. Was expected to be up 6 tenths, and basically it's heavily in the new family home construction. JetBlue had its worst day possibly ever. Um, $7.14 down 62 cents or 8% on their earnings report that quoted two things of issue. The first is the fact that there are more people traveling internationally, which doesn't hurt them, but it also doesn't help them. And their deal struck down by the courts for their fare sharing with American Airlines here in the Northeast. Then we had um, Norwegian Cruise Lines. Now, I don't know how many times I have said this. These guys are cheerleaders and they're liars. Remember, the cruise lines raving about how good things were and how big they were beating on bookings. All the while, I sat here and said they can't make money on this because they've mortgaged everything. And frankly, they're getting these new bookings by virtue of the fact that they're cutting prices so dramatically. I mean, you could take a 3 day cruise for two people that cost less than staying at home, buying groceries, and eating. So, Norwegian Cruise, 1933, down 274 or 12%, with a low of 1838. So basically, they're full of crap. AIG, I can't even figure out the numbers. There is no beats, doesn't beat, etc. And it's so complicated, and the stock is up a dime. I can't even be concerned about it. Pinterest beat top and bottom. It had closed at 28.99. It went first up to 32, down to 27.32, up to 29.87, and back to 28.90, down 9 cents. AMD had a big beat. They were up 320. The stock was up 320 at the close today before the earnings at 117.60. On the earnings, which, as I said, were beats, we got up to 125.36, down to 121.60, and the last is 122.61, up $8.21 or 7.12%. Pioneer, one of the stocks we own in the total return portfolio, closed 224.68, down 99 cents, reported a beat top and bottom. Got up to 229.18, back down to 217.11. And while that is up a little, for a $220 stock, last is 227.83. That's up 216 and change, which is 0.96%. Devon Energy miss on revenue, beat on earnings, was down 32 cents at the close at 53.68. Uh, got down to 52.12. Last is 52.66. That's down $1.34 or um, just 2.5%. So, as I said, futures were lower. We're going to have to see how this downgrade and how this massively bigger financing goes. Either way, you have to know that unless somebody really knew, um, and I'm not putting it out in the realm of unbelievability, but with the bonds moving the way they did today, we'll have to see whether this was in anticipation of this happening or whether we actually see something worse tomorrow. As far as the indexes here, Dow was up 71.15 or 0.20. It was the only one that was up. NASDAQ was down 62. S&P down 12. Um, the Russell down 901. That was the biggest loser at 0.45, so not a big loss. And down 86 in the transports, which was down 0.5 also. All right, folks, I'll be back in the morning. I hope that there's some more good news. Tomorrow morning before the open, we have mortgage apps. And tomorrow at 8:15, we have the ADP employment change. That's ahead of Friday's unemployment rate, hourly earnings, non-farm payrolls, and private payrolls. So, but again, as I said, tomorrow we have mortgage apps and ADP, and then at 10:30, we have crude inventories, which have been 2 weeks in a row draws to the downside. All right, I'll be back in the morning.